Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anti-Regulars United. Today we have an AMA with Chappyz project, and let's get started by having John Sears introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about about yourself, your background in the real world, in crypto, like what your experiences were up to this point, and a little bit about the team, how you guys got started on this project, how you came together, and then after that we'll move on to the actual project itself.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me firstly. That sounds like a little bit of a long story, but I'll try and make it as short as possible. So I'm John. I'm a co-founder of Chappyz and COO. So Chappyz is Dan, CEO, and myself. And then we've got quite a few other team members as well. But we've been long-term in crypto terms, business partners for around about 4 or 5 years with MoonBoots. My personal background was, well, it's quite varied really. So I started off managing international motorsport teams, so in quite a few different categories, just below Formula One, both commercial and sporting side. That was great, but I got married and started having children, had 3 children quite quickly, and being away 2/3 of the year wasn't really conducive towards a happy home life, and I wanted to spend more time with the family. So at that point I stopped, was trying to work out what to do, and went back into the original intended path of finance and private client wealth management in Geneva. So I did that for around about 4 years, built up quite a large client bank, around about 30-40 million AUM of clients' assets that I managed. But again, it was particularly after motor racing, it wasn't really fulfilling me, and more and more time I spent, the more and more I saw how much things were broken, particularly in kind of monetary structures and systems. So decided to give myself about 6 months off in 2018. I'd scratched the surface with crypto a little bit before that, but 2018 gave myself some time off to look at where I thought the world would be in 5-10 years time. And kind of stumbled across crypto and AI and machine learning and all these kind of emerging technologies that were coming along, and yeah, just kind of jumped in headfirst into Telegram and Discord and communities, and really started enjoying it. Did a lot of research all the time, and that's when I met Dan. And then since then we've built up MoonBoots group, MoonBoots Capital. We built up a kind of private investor group as part of that. We've invested in over 250 different blockchain startups, and we've also advised and helped a lot of the big launch projects, Star Atlas and Blocktober, etc., with community building in 2021 and up until now, really. So yeah, Chappyz, we really thought of that around about 2.5 years ago, I think, when we faced quite a few problems trying to help others build communities. And one of the main things, really biggest pain points we had, was from a community member or an investor standpoint, or any kind of viewpoint. What really frustrated us was seeing all these hundreds of thousands of numbers of Telegram followers and Twitter followers, but actually, if you really dug deep inside, there was no engagement at all. And I think a lot of that's created by, well, VCs and exchanges and people expecting numbers. So there are tools that you can kind of take or use to really grow numbers, but there hasn't really been a tool that focuses purely on engagement and retainment of your community and looking after your core community members. So that's really how Chappyz came up, and we wanted to create something that kind of like a layer 2 to all of the Zillies and Gleams and the ones that fill communities full of numbers.
All right, awesome. And how did you build your team? Oh, okay.
All right. I thought it was going to be the children, but it's the dog.
The dog.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, my question was about your team. Like, I know, I looked at your white paper, You
Yeah.
guys have 4 executives, and it seems like it's a fairly large team. So can you tell us a little bit maybe about them, how you guys came across each other? Is it meeting through through that investor group that you said that you were startups, or is it through like maybe some tokens you guys were in? Because that's kind of how we got started. We got started by basically getting rugged.
Yeah, we've had that a few times. But yeah, as I said, so Dan and I have worked really closely together the whole way through MoonBoots, and we were kind of the driving force behind Chappyz. We've also got Sean, who's a bit of a Twitter personality, bull run Gravano as well, who's been with us the whole way through MoonBoots Capital and the investment side. We've got Luciano, Luciano is our CTO on Chappyz, and he's come on board MoonBoots Labs, sort of full-time CTO as well. So we kind of ended up using him for everything we built for MoonBoots and other things, other projects we were involved with, and it was kind of a natural evolution to kind of all start working together on that side. Then we've got his extended development team. We've got another development pod in Vietnam. We've got our AI team in the US. We've got developers in Brazil. And then we've got some really good partners. So I think from the investment experience side, where a lot of projects we've seen go wrong is they really ramp up overheads quickly. And that it's great when you raise a load of capital, but you don't want to spend it straight away. And that's what a lot of people kind of fall in the trap of doing. So what we're doing, we've used partners. So for social media and PR, we've got Luna, who are also an investor. We've got some other marketing groups that we're working with. Pretty much every partner is also an investor in Chappyz, so they've got a vested interest. But the way we're doing it is gradually onboarding people full-time as the revenue, as justified by the revenue. So I think that's really important from a business perspective, and something that a large proportion of startups get wrong.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So the main topics I want to talk about is the token itself.
Yeah.
And also the project, the business side of it. And which one would you think would be better to talk about first?
Anyone. I've been locked at home for the last 9 months.
Because I know sometimes it's easier to talk about the token if you understand, the project. But I feel like the token is actually a lot easier to get out of the way.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that first. So tell us about the history of, let's say, the project, but the token specifically also. Like the raises, when did you guys start? Did you guys have multiple private sales, seed rounds? I did see that in the tokenomics that there's some pre-seed, there's seed. So just kind of like a brief overview on, the locking, the vesting, and when the next couple of investing unlocks or airdrops are going to start happening. Just like a brief overview, and like if you guys had in pre-sales, like, pink sale, jump pad, or anything like that, or is all done in your group?
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, so going back, so as I said, we came up with the idea like 2.5 years ago, I think, for Chappyz, but what we couldn't do was, which is where the AI system has come in now, what we couldn't do was offer a dynamic rewards with the quality of conversation and engagement. So that only sort of really came into play last year. So Dan and I had a conversation around Christmas last year, kind of started idealizing the project from beginning of this year. And it was March, April, once we got it all down on paper, which was really a napkin idea, because we're quite fortunate to have a good network and people that have known us for quite a while in the industry. We raised a pre-seed round of whatever, 220, 250K in March, April. And then we used that the whole way through. So we've only just started paying ourselves a salary. So we put all of the money we raised into and built the beta platform. So that took us to about August, September. August was when we started raising the seed round, and when we engaged with launch pads, etc. So again, because of our background, and I know kind of more traditional launch pads have been pretty quiet in the bear market. But it's probably been the most difficult time this year to raise capital for a startup, whether that's been in crypto or outside of crypto. So rather than go the VC route, we wanted to make it as community orientated as possible from the outset. So we wanted to go the Launchpad route. We had a good relationship with Seedify, ChainGPT. We were supposed to be early investors. That was a little bit of an unfortunate miss from our side. We were busy and forgot to invest. But ChainGPT did well. We've got a good relationship with Poolz and those others. So we ended up doing the Launchpad agreements, which was quite a good chunk of our raise, around about 960 plus KOLs, which is strategic round. And then, so just really kind of pushed through from there. And I'd say it wasn't until the later stages that we actually filled up the investment rounds of the project. And then now everyone's kind of interested in us and wants to invest after we've launched. So.
Well, yeah, usually it's the opposite, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's actually good. If they want to invest after you launch, that kind of shows that the project is just not a pump and dump one-off, lasting 2 days just to get your 2x.
No,
and,
exactly.
Sell.
No, it's a good thing, and I think we've kind of used our experience and really kind of left no stone unturned in every aspect, and we've also done it really efficiently. So we haven't kind of we've wasted a few dollars, but really compared to most projects, we've been really efficient with our capital as well.
Okay, that's good. That's perfect. All right, so
Do you want
the
to know
token, it has zero taxes, right? Zero tax?
Yeah, zero tax. So yeah, we didn't really want to bracket ourselves in the tax game. When we set off to look at the tokenomics, I suppose from our own experience and having invested in a lot of projects, what we saw, particularly projects that looked really good on the surface and had good teams and everything else, really they were just trying to raise to generate equity value, but not really thinking about the token enough. And we've been burnt a few times with that. So from the beginning of looking at the tokenomics, we were adamant we wanted to make it a full 100% Web3 revenue model for at least 2 years. And that's what we've done. So essentially we spent a lot of time on the corporate structure. So we've got a Delaware kind of tech co that holds the IP. Chappyz Inc. is in BVI, and then we've got Chappyz DAO in Marshall Islands. We got a token opinion letter, which was actually very expensive, to argue conclusively that we're not a security, which I think will be important moving forward. And yeah, from a revenue perspective, what we kind of tackled it from a traditional business start point. And the start point was, let's create a conservative 3-year cash flow model with kind of reasonable revenue projections, what we think is achievable. And then after that, translate it into a token model and really understand what that looks like. So we've got proper modeling and machinations done with the tokenomics you can see on our white paper. And then we've also created quite a lot of different revenue streams that feed back in the token and liquidity through the DAO treasury. So we've got on the platform, we have every time someone sets up a campaign, there's a campaign fee. There's a small claim fee for people claiming rewards. We've got a freemium SaaS model on the analytics, which comes into play probably from January or February next year. Then we've got ads, we've got premium spots, we've got our own inbuilt native list decks that should be coming on board pretty soon, which uses Chaps as gas. And then quite a few other sort of little intricate bits. So if projects want to engage with our Chappyz, which is our beloved community, then they can buy Chaps at a premium off the market. And again, that creates kind of positive sell pressure the whole time. So the whole thing's sort of really well thought out to drive long-term value for the token, but also have a non-inflationary staking environment as well. So basically, staking is a portion of the revenue goes to the staking rewards.
I wanted to say about the staking part. You should definitely look into that, because I think with something like staking, that does make it just forgot what you just mentioned. Security. I do believe there's some issues with staking.
It depends how you do it. We've got a really good legal counsel who look after CryptoPunks and Yuga Labs and all of those people. So I think we're in safe hands, and we do check with them on everything. So fingers crossed for it.
That's good. All right, so let's. I know, like, I definitely want to talk more about the token, about like the utilities and how it's integrated with your project. But I think to do that, we still got to talk about the main idea, the main use of the AI bot. What your project's all about. So do you want to get into that right now? Like, tell us about Chappyz itself, what it will do, how it will help build the communities, how, for example, how we could use it, like even in my group here, like what are the benefits and like revenue streams. And I definitely want to talk about also the revenue that you guys generated, how that was generated and what it was used for, things like that. So let's talk about the project a little bit, about the actual, the utility.
Yeah, let's go. So Chappyz itself we've designed it and we're continuing to evolve it into as simple as possible plug and play protocol. So you've got two sides of the coin, and if you look at our website, we've got a B2B video on one side and a B2C on the other. And the idea is it will become, because we've got a lot of communities lined up, community marketplace. Because of our AI system, which I'll go into detail in a bit shortly, we'll be able to give a lot of interesting analytics on communities, about sentiment, about engagement, about topic of discussion, all of those things. And it's all geared towards genuine engagement. And the idea is, if you picture a really simple, clean community marketplace, you can sort that how you want to. And then as a user, you come along, we've got a partnership with B&B Chain and Biconomy. So we're going to essentially have ability for social logins, gasless transactions, all of those things that make it accessible from a Web2 world as well. And that's part of our marketing plan, which we can discuss later. But you come in, you sign in with your wallet or your email or whatever it may be. You link up your socials. And there's quite a few platforms out there that are task orientated. So you've got all the beams and galaxies and Zeelies, etc. But what they tend to do is attract people who we consider as value extractors. So people who come into communities, they extract the value they can and they leave. And what we wanted to do was think about it differently. We want to look after our community members and the people who are actually ecosystem participants. So essentially, for your community, Anti-Ruggers community, you can start a campaign, you can set up a pool for that campaign, and that can be in a stable coin, it can be in your own native token, or you can engage with the Chappyz army. When you set up the campaign, you can set eligibility criteria. So you might have to hold one of your NFTs, or you might have to hold your token to be eligible for rewards. So that's another kind of barrier to prevent bots and airdrop hunters coming in and just extracting value. And then the really cool thing is the AI system we've spent about the last 9 months developing. So essentially, we're building our own Web3 community language model, which is quite unique because the language is quite unique. But what it does is every single conversation that's typed into community, at the moment we've got Telegram and Discord, but it's going to extend to digital places, wherever they may be. So that could be in a metaverse or a game. But whenever someone types in something into the chat, then the AI system scores it and gives it a percentage score based on certain topics of discussion, on sentiment, on anti-plagiarism, anti-spam, etc. And this is something that we're continuously developing. The next iteration will have contextual learning. it will be more accurate, etc. So it will understand the context of a chat within a conversation. But so that's the principle. And what a community will be able to do is decide what topics are important to them. So if I'm a gaming project, I can say, okay, I want to reward people for talking about gaming. I want them to reward them for talking about Web3 or whatever. And I can weight the rewards towards what the most important topic of discussion is for me. So you can kind of guide the brand narrative and reward the people that are actually really part of your community.
I like that. That's a good idea because over here we did have all kinds of, we tried all kinds of things, all kinds of giveaways. We had like competitions where like the most active chats or users for the week, would top 10 or whatever. But then everyone just ends up spamming and like replying with like one word, one word answers, or like, hey, hi guys, good morning, things like that, like just a lot of filler. So if there's a way to basically use AI to make sure that it's not spam, it's actual like legit conversations, especially if the topics are actually relevant, not just talking about the weather for 300 messages.
No, exactly.
But, yeah.
And it encourages people to think about what they're talking about as well. So in Chappyz, we've noticed it's quite interesting because people are, just to go back to that as well. So every time they get a percentage score for their chat, that's correlated to a token reward or an NFT reward. So people are actually having to think about writing better conversations to earn rewards. And the feedback we've had are that people are actually really learning about Web3 and the topics that are in the community as well, which is really cool.
So is this bot, is it done? Can we start using it? Has it been used yet, or is it still in development?
Yeah, so we had end of August, September, up to 21st of October, we had our public beta. So we had it in around about 50 or so communities. At that time, it was only rewarding in a cookie, like a generic cookie token, which gave eligibility to our airdrop. So some people are pretty happy for taking part in that. At the moment, we're in a transition phase. So we're now not too far away. I can't give an exact date, but we're hoping for the middle of December from our full launch platform. And then once that's ready, then communities will be able to go and use it as they wish, essentially.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. And you also mentioned the revenues. How there has been revenue already generated with it, right? Even in the post that I was sent by the marketer, there's 88,000 revenue generated. Can you tell us a little bit about about that, where it came from, and also like what it's been used for?
Yeah. So one of the things, so in the public beta campaign, for example, we, rather than give everything away for free, which is another kind of barrier to value extractors, there was a claim fee for the airdrop eligibility for the cookie tokens. So we had that set up for the beta campaign, and it's quite cool. Like the most active guy, I'm not sure whether he's here. His name is Tiger on Telegram, but I think he's earned an airdrop which at current market value is around about 150K. It's vested over 12 months, and everyone was complaining about paying $4 for a claim fee, but everyone that's done it has got a lot more value. So what I guess the message we wanted to get across was Chappyz is going to charge a claim fee for rewards, and that all goes to the DAO treasury for protocol revenue. And the most important thing for what we're trying to create is everyone is going to be able to educate themselves and get rewards that outstrip by far any costs. But if you're happy to pay those costs, then it all goes back into benefiting you in the long run. And that's kind of the model that we've built. So when a project sets up a campaign, 5% goes to the DAO treasury. The claim fee we're playing with, it'll probably be lowered a bit, but probably $2-3 to claim rewards. And we've got all the kind of B2B side. We've got the advertising. We've got the analytics is going to be quite a big revenue stream because we've got some quite special analytics that haven't been seen before coming from the AI system. yeah, and then I think a ton of other stuff. So we've got 7 or 8, 9 different revenue streams, and everything goes back into the token in algorithmic buybacks.
All right. So the revenues have already been generated in the 88K, right? So we talked about that, and it's going to go back in the token. Is that like via
Most
buybacks,
no,
rewards?
most of that's already gone back in, so that went to the market maker. So if you basically the way we do it, we've got our market makers come up with a algorithmic way of buying the token back. So if you looked at our early stages, the first week was quite tough. And then after the first week, we started doing pretty well. So that's all kind of incorporated into that. But then we have, obviously with the buybacks, we end up owning quite a lot of tokens. So then what we're planning is to distribute those through various different mechanisms to our community.
Yeah. All right. And all the tokens for the team, advisors, those are 100% locked, right? For I think like 9 months.
Yeah,
So
advisors are 9 months. We've got to wait 12 months.
Yeah, advisors looks like it's 9 and team is 12.
Yeah, we're 12.
And the rewards, that one is going to be paid out. That's for the staking, right?
The staking's quite a small part of that. So what the rewards pool, because we don't want it to be completely inflationary, which obviously kills a lot of projects. So because we've got a great community, we've got a really, I'd say probably on Telegram, probably the most active community, or definitely well up there at the moment, and Discord as well. A lot of projects already want to kind of interact with us and partner with us and everything else. So probably what we'll do with some of the rewards pool is people will have to purchase that as a premium to give out as rewards to people who hold our NFTs, for example. So we kind of double up on creating buy pressure that goes into buybacks and supports it as well, but it's cash flow positive, and also our community gets looked after and rewarded by the people who buy it.
Okay, thanks. And can you all tell us about what centralized exchanges you guys are listed on, and like what's the plans or the next thing, like the next big moves that you guys are planning to do?
When KuCoin.
Yeah, no, screw KuCoin. Hate KuCoin.
Yeah, no. I used
They
to be.
They don't let me. They don't allow me anymore, so I don't need them.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. We'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, so we thought about this like long and hard, and we built something pretty much on a shoestring. Like we were really efficient. We built a product, and now we've got the next steps to go with the product. And we spoke at length to ByBit. OKEx we weren't ready for because we didn't have enough on-chain activity, which is fair enough. But we selected a couple of exchanges to kind of build the foundation. So Gate obviously has a huge Chinese community, Chinese traders, and pretty good volume. We made sure that we didn't give away any unlocked tokens that they could sell, which has potentially happened in the past to other projects. And then ByBit's an interesting one because, like you just said, there's a lot of countries. I'm in the UK. There's quite a lot of exchanges I can't use anymore. Obviously, Binance is kind of being ushered out. And there's a lot of European countries where BitGet has actually spent a lot of time to conform from a regulatory perspective. So BitGet was a kind of outlier, but we were monitoring their spot volumes for quite a while. We looked at all the listings over the last couple of months before we did. And BitGet was really ramping up, even MEXC, but that's hard to analyze because they list 3 projects a day, so it's a little bit saturated. So our listing was on BitGet, Gate, and PancakeSwap for the DEX. And interestingly, I think BitGet was at least 50% more opening day volume than Gate, which we weren't quite expecting. So we were quite pleased for that. And you've also got to consider the kind of cost for listing versus performance. So then after that, we've got a few different choices. What we wanted to do was kind of look for outliers and for things that would make a real impact without spending 500K on KuCoin, for example. So we actually came across BitPanda, and BitPanda really kind of helped as a catalyst. It's got a great community. It's one of Europe's largest digital asset brokerages. So everyone was like, oh, why are you listening on BitPanda? What's that? But actually the effect and the community that's come over and all of those things have been really impressive. So I think from here, we're looking at a few more of those kind of regional plays, like BitPanda. And then also when we're ready with the launch platform, potentially, we're only really looking at regional or upwards. My ideal preference would be OKX. I think that's the best bang for buck out there overall now. But we need a little bit more on-chain growth and user act to get there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, honestly, the chart looks good. I know you guys. It seems like you guys had a lot of action since about 1 a.m. my time. I'm in PST.
Oh, yeah?
So
Okay,
for
yeah.
the last 6, 7, 8 hours or so. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm from the US. So yeah, I do have those problems with centralized exchanges. I used to trade mostly on KuCoin. Now they require KYC, but they don't allow US. Then I also trade on ByBit. Also require KYC, don't allow US. So now the only one I really have left is MEXC.
Yeah, Maxi isn't the worst option because they don't KYC anyone, but I'm sure they're probably going to have to soon, aren't they? So.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna put 100K on there. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. No, to be honest with, like, we've spoken for a long time with Maxi, and it's not a bad option actually. But the only issue is you kind of spread liquidity out, and it's pretty good for opening volume, and then the volume kind of dries up just because they've got so many tokens listed. I think on spot at least.
Yeah, definitely. I do feel like even KuCoin, like they have, a couple hundred tokens, and then you would only really trade maybe like 20, 30 of them at the most, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you're an investor, then you would, but like, if you're like just a futures trader, you would be mostly trading maybe 5, 10. You want the liquidity, right? You don't want to be buying and selling, every day and have to and run the price up just from your single buy. That's why I mostly just trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB on
Yeah,
futures exchange.
exactly. It's only really when real retail volume comes in that you see, obviously the
Yeah,
smaller alt. Yeah,
more of like a buy and hold, volume, right? They don't want to actually get into, the decentralized part of it and mess with the wallets. They just want to go easily and just buy it on the centralized exchange.
so I think that's and it shouldn't do, but that question does annoy me a little bit, like when KuCoin or when whatever, because actually the most important thing for us as Chappyz and with the vision we have is to deliver the launch platform, get as many communities and users on there. That creates its own on-chain activity, which is what the tier ones want, and it also creates revenue, which drives the token price. And then basically we can get whatever deal we want with the tier ones rather than trying to pay a fortune to get on them now.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go talk, since you brought that up, Ray. Let's talk a little bit brief about the roadmap. So quarter 3 2023, has all that been completed? Everything's been listed on there.
I can't remember what's on there, but I think so, yeah.
10 plus new on-chain tasks, so V2 AI system, V2 MVP,
Yeah, I think
all
all
that
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
And
So
can I use the bot right now, like in my group?
If you come through us, yes, and we've got quite a few requests. What Dan and I are deciding is whether we let anyone use it as it is at the moment. So if you go onto chappyz.com and you go to enter app, all you can see at the moment is Chappyz orientated campaigns. So just through this launch phase, we've just focused on Chappyz whilst we get the full launch platform ready. We may. So at the moment, the answer is no, unless you come through us and we say yes. but we may let a few different communities on before the launch platform, just to kind of build up a bit of interest before. But
Okay.
yeah, if you go on,
perfect. Because honestly, that's something that's I'd be interested to even checking out, seeing how it works and doing some kind of community engagement, promotions, things like that.
yeah,
That'd
no,
definitely
that's
be interesting.
exactly what it's good for. I'm sure some of our community members can kind of give you an impartial view
Yeah.
on what it creates.
Because I mean that is the big problem in the space, and one of the reasons why projects fail. Like I want to briefly touch on that. Is first of all, if the devs' intentions are not pure, if they are to scam, it doesn't matter what the use case is, what the tokenomics are, they're going to end up scamming, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. Second thing is the marketing and how fake this space is, and like a whole bunch of bots, a whole bunch of callers charging huge amounts for really nothing.
Yeah.
I actually, we do own a couple projects, like community-based, things like that, where I paid someone 3 BNB, and supposedly they had a lot, they would pump the chart, or, they had a lot of volume, a lot of investors. You know what happened? As soon as they posted, it was a zero tax token too, and it literally had the best chart. Like, there's no excuse. You shouldn't be like, oh, the chart sucks, I can't really, buy it. It was literally making all-time highs, like it wasn't just like dump 90% or anything. And literally after after they posted, it was like 6 or 7 buys from a bot probably that just buys everything they post of like 20 cents, 30 cents, like that. I paid 3 BNB from this supposedly great caller, and they bought like $3 worth of that's all I got from it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And well, even volume, there's so much fake volume as well out there as well, particularly on dexes when projects are trying to lure people in. So it's I think, like, if there's anything that we can do for this space, which Chappyz is one of those things, and we've got a few other things that we're kind of working on longer term, but if there's anything that we can do from our 6-7 years in the space, which is a reasonably long time, it's to try and really like break down all of the bullshit and kind of create a kind of clear picture of what's real and what's not, because that's part of the problem with the industry in general, I think.
All right, so I have one more question. And when Coinbase?
When Coinbase? Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. That should be a pretty good pump. So let me drop like 20 ETH on that. So I could
Coinbase, I did actually share a call in our community to buy Coinbase stock not too long ago. So hopefully people bought it, because I think it's up 20%.
Oh, I've been trading Coinbase stock too.
Yeah.
Crypto King, I think you muted yourself. Do you have a question? I don't know. I might have just been by accident.
Probably by accident.
All right. So let me go back to let's see if I have more questions. Honestly, like, with the project that's been launched already, it's not the same type of AMA as like pre-sale, or a private sale, because we would be a lot more strict on those. It's a lot more risk involved before launch. Oh yeah, one thing I did wanted to ask. So obviously, you guys link profiles. You guys are all essentially doxed.
Yeah.
And also, who was the contract writer for the token itself? Who was the dev for that?
So the token itself, we actually used, trying to remember where it came from. We actually ingested a stock token code, but our CTO did that himself. I can find it out if you want. And then we got it audited. 1 second.
So there is an audit.
Yeah, we got an audit. Yeah. For some reason, it was really annoying because on CoinGecko it came up that there was question marks over the contract, but we actually wrote to them and sent them the audit and told them everything was rubbish that was written on there, and they've removed that now. So yeah, we've got an audit. I can share that if you need.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because I was actually we were trying to find that earlier.
Okay. Yeah, we should probably have it on our website as well, to be honest with
you. Yeah, the contract code is not really, looks like it's been broken up into the, that's why we actually wrote it, because most lazy devs or that try to come off as devs, they just have one file and they just copy and paste, many projects and charge a lot. But this one's been broken up into many files. Even though there's not many, there's not many different read or write functions.
It's nothing too exciting, put it that way.
Yeah, it's just a zero tax token, so there's not much to it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Whenever we get the audit, that would be good. You can take a look. Do you remember what it was? Who was by?
Hang on, let me find it. Sorry. I can't see print messages. 1 second. I can't remember who it's by. I've had about 130 in my head in the past few weeks. 1 second. It was audited by SourceHat. There you go.
SourceHat, okay.
Chat.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's nothing really exciting with the token contract.
Is this like this looks to me, I'm not too familiar with SourceHat, but looks to me like, is it just like an automatic audit? Like they just run a script?
No, that was a proper audit. That took like 72 hours to get.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, because it's fairly short.
Yeah, if you go down, you can kind of see a little bit more detail.
Okay, yeah, that's good enough. I mean, obviously, this contract isn't anything complicated, not doing anything crazy, multi-chain or anything like that. So.
No, exactly. The actual, obviously, the platform would be multi-chain. So as soon as we've finished the launch platform, we've got an audit coming for the platform itself, which would be a bit.
That one's gonna definitely be very important, and all the staking and all of that.
Yeah.
Are you using like a staking contract that's existing, or did you guys create that one yourself?
No, staking, we actually use one of our launch partners, which was Decubate. So they supply ChainGPT and quite a lot of other projects. So the staking platform's already completely secure and was kind of plug and play for us. We needed to go that route because we didn't have the time to build it ourselves.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Anyways, let's get. I think I had all the questions answered that I have, and I want to give the community a chance to ask some questions. So let me tell you guys up front, please do not ask questions like I was seeing in chat that literally don't make any sense for this project. This is not one of those fake AMAs where we're gonna like pink sale, where you have 100 people read Google questions that like every single AMA same questions.
We did a Korean AMA recently. That was kind of
Yeah, it's funny because I joined one pink sale AMA a long time ago, and I literally joined them to expose them because I knew there were scammers, and I waited for like an hour with my hand raised to get picked on, and the only people that were getting picked on to ask questions was like literally like those farmers from Southeast Asia that just wanted to win a prize, like $5 to ask a question. And it was just like Google questions, right? Like some random questions that don't even apply to the project or have been answered like 20 times already in the AMA. So I just want to reiterate, guys, asking questions does not make you win the giveaways, okay? That's not how we do it around here. The questions are really for getting to know the project as it should be. And that's the reason why we have the AMA. It's not to, you know, do giveaways or grow our community. I mean, obviously that's helpful, but the real reason we have AMAs here is because we are investors. Like you said, you know, you are an investor, right? And we have a similar story too. We've been backing lots of projects, and we started doing AMAs as a way to talk to the devs and get a really good feel. You know, because you could read the white paper, you could get all that, but I feel like talking to the devs themselves, or, you know, who's representing the project, it gives you a much better feel, much better vibe of like their intentions and, you know, how the project is and how good you know, because you could have like amazing project, but if it's overvalued and the devs are arrogant, it's probably going to go to hell, right? Or you could have like a very tiny, hard cap, tiny project where the devs are super genuine and they want it to grow and, you know, are super excited and they're very honest, and that can make you a lot more money, right? So at the end of the day, it's really about, you know, the team, hardworking team, you know, what they could do. And also if the marketing funds are used wisely, which also kills a lot of projects because of all the scammers and fake marketers.
And you see a lot of big raises, maybe on the more arrogant side, as you said earlier, but they spend all their money on entertainment and events and stuff with no real purpose, don't they? And then
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, the only devs that cried in our AMA were the arrogant ones.
yeah.
So honestly, you guys, I joined your community earlier today. Like I was chatting up a bit. I guess nobody knew about the AMA, and they were like almost like telling me I'm full of shit. You know, that's pretty funny. I did like the community. Like it's very active. Like you say, very active.
We've got a protective family.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to scam here, guys. I'm literally just telling you there's an AMA coming up. You know, I'm not telling you to DM me. You know. But yeah, okay, let's get started with community questions. So I'm gonna go find some in here. Okay, from Eddie. What is the next top tier exchange listing we should expect? I think we talked about that briefly.
Yeah, we did talk about it. It will be whatever the right one is at the time, Eddie.
What is the multi-chain that have been talking about in token staking claims rewards? Could I basically to elaborate more on that about the multi-chain?
Yeah, so on our public beta platform, which most people didn't like, but we did it for a reason because of the NFTs, was on a theme straight, and now in the process of delivering the launch platform, we launched a token on BNB. We've got a full partnership with BNB Chain, who are sponsoring gasless transactions. So we've got BNB Chain, and then we're also working on, which is pretty easy, most of the kind of EVM, Arbitrum and Polygon EVM chains initially. And then we're also in discussions with some other pretty large layer ones, etc., for expanding. Because obviously the idea with the community platform is you want any community with any token to be on there and be able to reward with a native token or NFTs. So we need to get to the point of multi-chain as quickly as possible, really, as the whole thing grows.
All right, thank you. And question 3 from Eddie. Is the buyback of 44 ETH done or being done in process? See, this is actually something I didn't even know about. So if you guys are doing some crazy buybacks, that's actually probably a good thing to have plastered all over, you know, Telegram.
Yeah. So the buyback, I think most of that has been done, and that was sort of to support the first week, and also it helped with the second week push up as well. I think most of that's done, but obviously in the not too distant future, I think maybe even this week we've got more revenue coming in, but as soon as the launch platform goes live, then all of the revenue goes into continuous buybacks pretty much.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, and this is the one I'm saying, guys, stop like asking the same questions. We talked about this, but let me read it anyways. How does the project plan to create value for token holders in the long term? I guess, you know, maybe there's an easy way to, you know, like
it's pretty simple in that the more, so we've got a big user acquisition strategy planned. We've got a lot of all of the, I don't know, we've got at least 10 launchpads launched lined up as partners who are going to introduce all of the projects coming through them. We've got quite a lot of accelerators, quite a lot of advisors who are all introducing projects to Chappyz to use. So we're going to have a lot of communities on there. We want to have at least 500 in the next year, hopefully more. And then we've got to really define a big user acquisition strategy, and not just in Web3, but we've got a partnership with Unitasker, which is it's an army of around 400,000 students in the UK and some in the US as well. And we're going to open it up to them to try the Chappyz platform to start any rewards, etc. So once we've got Biconomy and BNB gasless transactions, then it'll be simple for people to come and use the platform and start earning rewards. So really how the token holders benefit is the more communities and the more users on the platform, the more revenue comes in from campaigns, from ads, from analytics, from everything else. And all of that goes back into the token value.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, make it even easier by the token price going up. That's how.
Yeah, exactly. The more users and businesses on the Chappyz platform, the more the token price goes up, basically.
Exactly. You build a community, you build, the user base. It's kind of like Facebook and Instagram, Snapchat, and all these other, companies. They started off free, right? You just download, Facebook for free. No ads, no nothing. Instagram, no ads, no nothing, And now you can't even scroll down without seeing 20 ads every,
And without doing any ads or real kind of performance marketing or anything, we hit over 10,000 users the other day as well. So we're doing pretty well organically so far.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And you guys have the 10,000 users. That's for the beta?
Yeah, so that's how many have registered so far. I think we well over 1,000 daily active users and over I think monthly active users is quite close to that 10K figure because it's been quite active. But yeah, it's pretty decent stats considering we haven't really had a user acquisition push.
Okay, thank you. Next question. In your opinion, what are Chappyz's key selling points? Like, what separates you from similar projects?
We haven't seen anything else out there like us. Like when people look at Chappyz, and this is probably our fault because we haven't positioned it quite right with the deck or whatever, but when people first look, they think about Gleam and Zeely and Queston and Galaxy and all of those platforms that you do tasks on and earn rewards and that's great. But what we're trying to do is be something different, which is really to encourage and retain community engagement, starting off with Telegram and Discord, but our vision is really to extend that to metaverses and inside games and wherever there's a digital community and an API endpoint to access, we want to have Chappyz enabled to reward community. And it doesn't, obviously there's financial rewards. So I think we've had feedback to say that people, particularly in lower income countries, are kind of almost making a living from Chappyz, but not just that, they're also really learning at the same time because quality is important. But if you think about it, not just from a Web3 perspective, we've had some discussions with some pretty big Web2 brands. So one's quite a famous reality TV show in the UK. One's a big alcohol brand based in the US. And they're really interested in this to actually kind of engage and understand their community more, because everyone's using growth hacking techniques and kind of all these little comments and positive comments. But I think Web3 is kind of bringing real community back together. And kind of my personal take on it is community will become more valuable than product again in the not too distant future. And part of a real community is real conversations. So that's really where Chappyz is different to anything else.
Thank you. All right, next question. Let me see. Hopefully, didn't miss anyone. Okay, I answered some of them myself already. Let's see. Talk about campaign eligibility, NFT staking, and what are the additional advantages of NFT holding in Chappy ecosystem. Now, that's a good one to talk about. We haven't even touched NFTs.
Yeah, so we have Chappyz NFTs. We sold out a collection of 10,000 on October the 24th, I think it was. Well, that's when it opened. And yeah, they're a little bit different. So they were low value. I think they were $8.88 at the time to mint. But the really cool thing is we used another technology we developed called MoonBoots, which allows you to attach tokens to ERC 721s. And we started doing that quite a while before 6551 even came out or was mentioned. So what we did was we cut, it's almost like a lottery, but each different rarity, there's 6 rarities, from white all the way up to unicorn. And each one has a different amount of tokens attached to it according to rarity. And then the unlock schedule is over the course of a year. Each week, a different batch of these NFTs unlocks tokens, which creates quite a lot of secondary gamification. So that's quite cool in itself, but also the NFTs will, at the moment, you go to chappyz.com, have a look at the app. In order to earn rewards by chatting in Chappyz Discord and Telegram, you need to own an NFT. And that will carry on to projects who want to engage with the Chappers, with the Chappyz army. That NFT will continue to give eligibility. And then also holding an NFT, which we're working on at the moment, will also enhance staking rewards as well. So it'll provide a yield enhancement.
All right, thank you. Okay, well, we do have a lot of questions. So next question. How does the project plan to achieve its goals? Okay, I think that one's been kind of answered already.
Sheer hard work and determination.
Yeah, how's goals and generate value for investors? That's similar to the other question.
Yeah.
Next one is, can I get a Joker card? That's not a question related to you. Okay. Any planning to get Chaps somewhere centralized exchanges? We talked about that one. Okay, this one. What is the roadmap for the project's development and growth? So I guess maybe go over a little bit, like a quick, rough, next for the timeline. We did talk about, this and what's the next big things happening. But
I was hoping to have a date before the AMA, but yeah, hopefully before Christmas. It should be before Christmas. We'll have the full launch platform. So what that means is a full redesign, cheap gasless transactions, abstraction. Everything will look pretty in keeping with the landing page as well. And we'll start to implement multi-chain, and we'll start to implement more of the task-based stuff that people want to use that. So at that point, and also the B2B platform. So at that point, communities will be able to come on and create their own campaigns without us, and that's like a really simple 5-minute process. So yeah, that's kind of that's really exciting, because that's when Chappyz starts generating revenue. That's when we can really have our first big user acquisition push, and that's what, in reality, like for me personally, that's more exciting than the token launch, because that's the platform becoming a reality and starting to work as it should do. And then, so next steps after that, Q1, we've got a couple of things lined up. So we're continuously working on the AI system. So V3 of the AI system will start to bring in more accuracy, more topics, but also contextual scoring. So it'll start to score messages in the context of the conversation they're in, which also helps eliminate people who just come in and write one message from GPT that no anything else. Then also Q1, we're bringing in the analytics platform. So that will provide kind of a free level of community analytics for community members to decide what communities they want to explore. but also for other industry participants like VCs, launchpads, whatever. They can also have a analytics subscription models, give more detailed analytics on. I think particularly when you're doing due diligence on an investment project, it's really important to understand a community and the makeup of a community, and that's where that kind of comes into play too. So, that's pretty cool. Then beyond that, we've got there'll be a lot of small upgrades and integrations with different platforms. So we've got an enterprise API provider we're working with that supports LinkedIn and other things. And then the interesting part, we've got a couple of potential big partners. One of them's a game, which I can't mention yet. But they want to look at implementing Chappyz in game, which would be really interesting. And also reward with NFTs and things. And yeah, then it gets quite interesting beyond that, because we'll also look at doing, whether it's the same version or we do a slightly different version with the same kind of economy that all flows back into Chappyz itself. But for the Web2 companies that are interested in this, we need to understand whether we build an SDK or white labeled versions, or how we go about that. So that's something for the middle of next year.
All right, thank you. Let's see, there's a question here. Oh yeah, are you guys planning to have a launch pad in the future?
It's a good question, isn't it? Because a lot of the projects that have launched in the bear market or this year have turned into launch pads, but
and they're all failed.
Well, ChainGPT's done okay, isn't it?
Well, most of them.
Most of them, yeah. So not like in a conventional sense. I think Chappyz in itself is kind of a community launchpad. We've also got MoonBoots, which I mentioned earlier, that we built up over a period of time. We've got a collection and a private investor group as part of MoonBoots. So that in itself can be, we don't want it to be like a launchpad as such, but probably early to later stage, I suppose an angel launchpad. So as part of the group, we've got Chappyz, we've got MoonPass, which is our token management platform that issues the NFTs and has the token attachment. And then we've got MoonBoots, which is I suppose our private group and a lot of our friends and network within that group. So as part of the ecosystem, then there will be investment. I shouldn't really say investment either, should I guess, but there will be opportunities to kind of get involved in early stage projects, which is kind of how I got into the industry as well.
Man, this is kind of funny. I was looking at this guy that was asking questions. Albert, how strong? Did you look at the chat?
Where's Albert? How can we trust I believe a lot of rage pulling. Rage pulling.
No, look at this one. He's asking, how strong is your team? Many projects start with good impressions, later abandoning them. I literally copy and pasted that question into Telegram, and literally there's like 50 results that I see.
I think we should say goodbye to Albert.
You just copy and pasting the same question from deleted accounts and meta moonshots and crypto miner. I'm telling you, man, these guys, they don't even pay attention. We said this many times that you don't win giveaway by asking questions. Okay, let's go. Let's go see if there's any actual legit questions. Okay, another one. The Shizuka, same exact question. How strong is your team? What are the best features? Let's see. It's kind of hard filtering through all this.
Someone come up with a good question that I haven't heard.
Okay, here's a guy from Beto. What is the meaning of the name Chappyz and why the Z? Just curious. I know this guy's from Anti-Rugger, so I know he's not trying to just spam a question.
Yeah, so I think Dan, my business partner, really liked the Chappy Robot movie. And kind of when we decided that the way to do what we wanted to do was with AI and a bot at the same time, he thought of the best kind of robot name he could and came up with Chappy. Then we had, initially when we raised the pre-seed, we were called ChappyGPT, but then we quickly realized that everyone was calling themselves GPT, so we thought that was a bad idea. So we came up with something that we thought, because we kind of got this vision of not just being a Web3 bot or whatever, but actually going out to the world and big brands and everything else, we thought we'd just call it something quick and catchy and pretty easy to remember, and ended up with Chappyz.com. Simple.
All right, perfect. Let's see. Bought it. I think that's all the questions. Anyone else have any questions? I know someone wanted to ask in voice chat. Please, if you have any more questions, type in now. Okay, I see. Is there more that we as a community can do to help? Okay, this is a good one. Is there more that we as a community can do to help market the project, or will there be committees created to help further advance the project? I'm surprised you guys don't have like that already, like a shield team or like a shield squad.
Yeah,
that's like that.
That's a good point. So we announced our ambassador program at the other day, this week, and we've got a Google form. You can ask a mod in our group if you're interested. But we've got a lot of interest. I think we've got users, and quite a few of these are only like 1 or 2 or 3 people, but we've got users in over 150 countries, which is pretty cool. So on Discord, we've got 20 different languages or something, all the major languages and a few kind of lesser known ones. And we've set up the ambassador program not for countries but for languages. And people who kind of want to help with that, we're going to have a vote to nominate each language a very important Chappyz ambassador who will kind of run their language. And the whole idea is we kind of create this borderless digital nation concept, and everyone builds out their own communities. Then also the DAO. So the DAO's taken a bit longer on the legal structuring side. It's nearly there now. But once the DAO's fully set up, then we'll have all the governance and voting and everything in place on chain. So yeah, at that point, everyone will have a voice. And yeah, Dan and I have been a little bit crazy busy around the launch, but we're aware we need to kind of refocus a little bit on making sure that even the small things the community has a voice with and can offer their opinion.
All right, thank you. There's one good question I see here. It's from Shifat. From my experience so far, rewards pools are drained by few active members, while most people end up not being able to claim anything because they aren't chatting too much like others. Kind of like what we're seeing here. You know, some people are just Googling and copy and pasting questions. So campaigns will be like this in the future, or we may see some changes in campaigns as well. How are you planning to make campaigns work? Yeah, that's kind of like a good point, because like, you know, some people could still bot, or, you know, like even if the AI is smart, you could still, you know, like just spam and, you know, pretend like you're, you know, or talk, whatever, you know, you want to make your $5, like I said, you know, like asking questions. So how would you counter that?
Yeah, a lot of it is evolving the AI and the anti-spam and the memory as well. But also it comes down to claim fee, and we've had the claim fee set quite high, and this is something we're kind of experimenting a bit as well. But I think if you bring the claim fee down as well, then you get more people talking and realizing that they can claim $5 in a day rather than have to wait to get to $30 on Ethereum with gas, or $40 to actually claim and be rewarded something. So I think it's mostly down to claim fee at the moment, why a lot of the kind of most active participants are able to claim and get rewarded. So that's something we're working on.
Okay, next question. This is from the one. This is the guy that I was talking to in your chat earlier. He said, as I see the Chappyz communities keep increasing more, and the Chappyz team is looking for Chappyz ambassadors from different countries, people apply for it. This will make the Chappyz grow massively. Now I need to know, question 1. Now, Sir John, explain to us, what do you see in the future about Chat&Earn and Chappyz community, and how will you handle the huge number of chappers in the community in case of Chat&Earn? Imagine the chappiers, I guess, are 50K in the community. How will you handle them? You handle them by banning the spammers now. So I guess that's the first question. How will you handle the growth?
I think, well, if you relate it to the ambassador program, obviously the idea with that is we split off into different languages. So that does help handle the growth to an extent. And we're also incorporating in V3 a translate layer for the AI, so that different languages can be rewarded. In terms of infrastructure and the product itself, we're well positioned to handle that amount, like 50K at the moment. I guess if it goes, it's a difficult one, because if you look in any sort of global community, even like big kind of celebrity or athlete or whatever, some kind of community groups on Facebook or Twitter or something, you still don't get that many people talking at the same time. So I think if you're just talking about Chappyz itself, I think the idea of Chappyz is we're this digital nomadic nation, and we go and explore all these other new projects and communities and kind of get rewarded in new tokens, and it's kind of an exploratory exercise, and then you come back and kind of tell your stories in the Chappyz group. So I think the idea is as Chappyz grows and the marketplace grows, then people will be kind of exploring more than in one group talking all the time. So I think the whole thing will be spread out quite well.
Okay, thank you. Next question from the one about Chappyz token. What strategy will you use to keep the price of Chappyz token stable and grow consistently?
So there's a few things. Obviously, there's a market, so there's supply and demand. So it's managing that as best as possible with positive developments. Obviously, the revenue side is really important, because that will drive the long-term price appreciation. And like when we did our tokenomics, we looked at all the modeling if all the investors sold all their tokens and there was no speculators. And even with that and conservative revenue projections, we're still at 3 to 5x from public in 3 years, which is important. If you then add like the revenue that we think is achievable, and you add speculation as the thing gets big, then anything's possible, really. But yeah, it's not like price isn't something you control. You have to let the market do what it wants to a certain extent, but what you can control is the project development. You can control the input to create the revenue, and we have good market makers as well to kind of support the market and the market structure itself.
You could definitely control the price if you own all the tokens.
Well, that's true, yeah. Hopefully we don't, though. So.
Or unlimited cash to buy up all the JEET cells.
Well, yeah. Well, I suppose that's the idea that we want is as many people to have Chappyz and be owning Chappyz as possible. Like in an ideal world, and it's a bit of a long shot, but it makes less of a difference in higher income countries. But like from some of the really positive feedback we've had so far, I think like Chappyz can actually provide a really interesting educative kind of earning system in lower income countries as well for people who want to learn about Web3 and everything that's going on.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good thing, because you know how you had to play to earn games, and literally I probably never touch any of them because they're all garbage. And then you have like people making like $5 a day, just clicking the same button. I mean, if you're up for that, if that's something that good money for you, then I feel like this is at least better than clicking the same damn button 12 hours to make $5.
Hopefully you can learn something as well. So, yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so the next question is I think this is a good one, is and I think I'm probably gonna see if there's any more good ones. I'm gonna definitely filter out a lot of the other questions. So the Chappyz domain was registered in July. Am I missing something? Didn't they work on this idea for the past 2 years?
Yeah.
Basically, they're saying that if you've been working on this for 2 years, why is the domain only registered in July?
Okay. Yeah, so I think I explained that a little bit earlier, but so 2.5 years ago, with what we were doing with MoonBoots, we thought of the concept, but we couldn't do it because we couldn't create dynamic rewards, which is what AI has enabled us to do. When we started at the beginning of this year, kind of putting everything together and started with capital in March, April, we called it originally ChappyGPT, and we had chappygpt.io, which you can search up, which was registered quite a bit before then. And then we decided GPT was incredibly saturated, and we wanted a little bit more of a friendly, I suppose, consumer-focused or community-focused name and brand. And then we came up with Chappyz, June, and as you said, registered the name in July.
Okay, so basically, yeah, it was just a TLDR. It was just a rebrand, if you call it that.
Yeah.
All right, so I think, let's see, any more? Oh, this is another one. I've seen this one in the chat. Do you plan, and this is actually a good suggestion, do you plan to create a Chappyz application? I think that would be something like, definitely like an iOS, Android.
Yeah, that's on the list now. Apple's a bit more friendly to these things. It's actually been designed at the moment, but when we'll launch it, we're not 100% sure yet. We've got to go through all the legal side as well on the app because of the tokens.
There's also another question. There's not much info about the team on their website. Is there a reason behind this? A strategy, exposing yourself and being more transparent might attract more investors. And yeah, I did feel that was my initial impression too. There's nothing on the website, but you guys do have your links on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But I would say it's definitely a good idea. I would make that suggestion. See, since you're docs anyways, and you have your LinkedIn, and not everyone's gonna fish that out of the white paper, I do think it's definitely good to put that on your website too, because a lot of investors are just going to see your website and skim through it real quick at the front page, and see there's no team info, and they'll be like, oh yeah, maybe there's just another one of those projects that's going to die in 2 weeks, right? So if you're doxing anyways, might as well just take credit for it. So I would put that on your website for sure.
The way we looked at it, I think, so we've got incubated by MoonBoots, so you can go to MoonBoots Capital and find us that way, or LinkedIn or whatever. But the way we looked at it is we're kind of, I don't know, we're trying to create a clean kind of plug and play, simple product. And if you look at any, maybe Web2 service companies where you've got people providing a service or whatever, you'll have a team on there. But most kind of you don't go onto Amazon and see the team, do you? So it may be a little bit contrarian thinking, but we just thought that maybe it'll put some crypto token investors off, but we just thought it was cleaner not to have the team there. If you want to find out who the team is, it's pretty easy to find and look, but I do get your point.
You could always just have a tab, how you have the about, you have services, you could just follow all that. You could have something in there. I think it'd definitely be helpful, because that does, as an investor in this space, let me tell you, that does help a lot. Where if it's just a non-dev, then they're just a farmer. They're mostly launched 20 other projects. It's going to last 2-3 days at most, right?
Yeah.
And then even then you can still get a whitelist, and make some money on it, but you're not going to be holding it. But if you guys have actual real team members, real people behind it, I think it goes a long way in convincing investors that it's probably better to hold than to just get your 2x and run away.
We went if you Google Chappyz as well, we did put quite a lot into building up the brand and the PR and everything. So if you Google Chappyz and our names or whatever, there's a lot of press and PR and stuff as well. So it's not like we're
yeah. I'm just saying, if you're gonna do that, might as well just take the credit for it, because I think on the website, a lot of people would the other guy that asked the question, he might have missed it,
I don't need credit, but I do agree to an extent. I guess we had kind of had this idealistic view that we wanted it as clean as possible without too many tabs, and that's why we didn't do it.
Yeah. That's fine. And all these strategic partners that you have on here, are they actual partners? For example, have you talked to ByBit, BitGet, and let's see, Gate.io? You did mention that one. So the ones, for example, I'm curious about is ByBit and BitGet.
Yeah, if you search ByBit Chappyz on Google, you'll see the community partnership announcement.
Okay.
Obviously, BitGet. So Gate is a listing partner, and not too much more than that. BitGet, we've got quite an extensive partnership with, and we're actually looking. They've got a festive event. They've given a lot of support on the BitGet wallet side, but they're also the UAE and UK marketing teams want to work closely with us as well. So we might be launching the full Chappyz platform at BitGet's festive event in London in December as well. So yeah, they're all quite close partners. Everyone on there is a close partner of some description.
Okay, that's good, because I seen projects where they list like literally everything under the sun.
Yeah,
and then
I've seen
that. Yeah.
But yeah, you've also got to remember we've been around for 6-7 years. We've worked with a heap of projects, a heap of like every exchange, every advisor pretty much, and we've got a really good network. So yeah.
And speaking from like a legal perspective, are you guys registered, and in which country?
Yeah, so I think I covered that one, but I'm happy to do it again. So we are Chappyz Inc. is in BVI. So that's where the token issue is. And BVI is actually really good now because you can get a VASP license and everything else. It's kind of been taken off the grey list and acceptable to US and everywhere else. And then we've got Marshall Islands is where Chappyz DAO is, which is also an LLC. So that structure covers everything from a token legality perspective.
Perfect. Thank you. I believe that's all the questions we have had. Is there anything else you want to discuss, or anything we haven't covered yet? If you feel like it's important to know, or just anything you want.
No, I think we've covered pretty much everything. I think, yeah, I'm just grateful for our community for coming over, for your community for hosting, and yeah, we're working like super hard in the background. We don't always shout about it, but yeah, I think we're making strong progress every day, and I think we've got a really, really fantastic product, particularly for the bull run. So yeah, just looking forward to everything for coming, and thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Oh, I got one more question. It always sneaks in. It's always something sneaks in for me. Okay, so you guys are a zero tax token, right?
Yeah.
Most of, or if not all of the, let's see, let me go back to tokenomics. Like the team wallets, advisors, they're all locked. So the only circulating tokens right now, correct me if I'm wrong, is all the investor tokens, right? Like seed, pre-seed, public.
Yeah. So pre-seed and seed started unlocking today. They've got pre-seed's 8%, seed 5% between now and the next 15 days, and then they've got a 3-month cliff. And then from December the 13th, public and strategic had their initial unlock at TGE, and then from December the 13th, they start linearly unlocking. So we've got the kind of one-hit events. Everything's really smooth from here.
So public hasn't unlocked at all yet?
Yeah, public unlocked 15% on TGE.
Oh, they did. Okay. All right. So the question concerning this is, if all these tokens are fairly locked up and there's no tax, how are you guys paying for marketing? Is it just going to be with the revenue, or is there other sources of marketing?
Yeah, so obviously we raised whatever we raised after Launchpad refunds. It was, I don't know, 1.5 or something like that. Maybe a little bit less. And then the whole listing process with it was expensive. So anyway, we've got whatever the figure is, just around about 500,000, a bit more of runway.
So it's basically from the sum from the raise, like for example, 40% of, so it's still going through that, right? But it's going to run out eventually. So
Yeah, so we've got that as runway. Plus, we've got treasury that we're building with market makers. Plus, we have the obviously team tokens is a separate thing that comes later. But plus, we have the treasury tokens as well. So the whole idea is we're on this massive mad push, and we've already got like 100 communities lined up, like from the first month. But we're on this massive mad push once the platform is live or just before to get as many communities and users on board. And then the revenue drives the token price, which obviously supports everything else. So.
Okay, yeah, that's a good answer. Perfect. So thank you. Thank you for coming here and for answering all the questions. Honestly, I feel like your community is definitely, strong and active. And that's another way how, with the AMAs and everything, how we see, what the community engagement is from your community in our group and also your community in your group. So I've been already scouting that out. So you guys definitely seem like, pretty active, like a large group of investors and definitely believe in the project. So that's always good to see. And yeah, once again, and thanks for coming here and for taking your time to answer all the questions. And definitely gonna be keeping an eye out for you guys. And if you guys, have any, important announcements or anything, the next roadmap, when the bot is ready, whenever you guys feel like you need to say something, we offer updates too, so we'll be able to post updates in our group. That's kind of one of the benefits of having AMA here is we're not like trying to penny pinch and charge you for every post. Once you're in our community, basically you're here for life essentially, which doesn't even matter for some projects because they die after 3 weeks anyways. But you guys are long term, so important.
No, I think it's the right way of doing it. So no, I appreciate that. We'll make sure that we drop back in and keep you updated as well. But,
yeah, and we actually have devs here that have been around, for 2-3 years. They're part of, actually our community is probably half devs.
Yeah,
think about it. So most of our growth came from AMAs. Every time we have an AMA, we have the devs coming in. We have the community members, and then many of them stay around, especially the devs. So probably like 1,500 of the members are devs.
Nice, that's impressive. That's a good ratio. Good.
So,
all right, I better go. My wife and kids are calling me, and I can smell something quite tasty, and I'm quite hungry. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, enjoy with that your dinner. Yeah, you're in the UK.
Dinner time. So yeah, thanks very much for having me. It's been a real pleasure, and let's keep in touch. And as I said, we'll drop in and keep everyone updated.
Yeah. By the way, thanks for the dip, guys. I was waiting for that. Because it was pre-pumping during the AMA, and now people are front running me, so now there's a dip. So perfect opportunity. Have a good rest of your day, and yeah, see you around.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Good luck. Bye.